Hey everyone, it's Stephanie again, and you're tuned into the review of Family or Fiancé, Season 1, Episode 6. So this episode features the couple Solani and Justin. And I don't remember how long they've been together, but they've been together for quite some time. They are living together. Solani has a 13 or 14-year-old son, and Justin doesn't have any children. And they are smitten with each other. I actually think this is a great couple. I thought this was a phenomenal episode because it really touched on some things that are really important for anyone watching and, anyone in life in general, more or less in a relationship. So on his side comes his two sisters and his mother. And on her side comes her brother, I believe. I forgot who else. Her brother, her mother, and one other person, maybe a sibling or something like that. But some of the concerns for them is that Justin kind of lied about telling his mom about the engagement. So red flag number one that came out in the session with Tracy, the relationship expert on the show. He told Solani that he did tell his mom that they were engaged, but come to find out, she didn't know about it. And so we find that there is a disconnect with Justin and his family. You can tell that he loves his family, but there's a disconnect there. And the mother even says, ever since he's moved out to LA, we haven't really heard from him. I don't know what's going on with him, what he's doing. And we find a disconnect with Solani and his family because there is a wedge between him and his family, and so she really can't overstep that. She seems bubbly and excited to meet them. What I enjoyed seeing about this group was that they all met each other at the door. Like in the past episodes, each family kind of like went to the door by themselves, or whoever's family was coming, they went to the door, but it seemed unified. In a lot of ways, it seemed like there's some really good energy there, but as we saw, there was a lot of other stuff going on. So as they get there and everyone is there and they're talking and mingling and just having a good time and discussing concerns, they open up the floor to why they feel that this might be a problem. And one of the things that is the central theme of this episode is Justin's past PTSD. He was in the services and he has been exposed to a lot of trauma, and he has very, very significant PTSD. And we also see that his mother was also in the services and she has PTSD as well. The moment that Solani's mother asks about the PTSD, Justin snaps, and you see how significant and how traumatizing it really is for him, because just the mention of the word, he didn't want to discuss it, and he felt ill-prepared to discuss it. So it was not only just hearing about it, and I'm sure having a flashback or feeling physically uncomfortable, but it was the idea of talking about it when he hadn't planned to talk about it, when he wasn't ready. And we find that his mother is also triggered in that moment because she has her own PTSD. And so she leaves, she gets upset and she leaves. And Solani's mom stays very calm. She basically says, hey, I just kind of want to get more information because here's this person that is going to be with my daughter and my grandson. And I want to know more about him, and I want to know more about this thing that's so serious, that's so traumatic, because I want to know who they're with and the levels that he can go to. And there's talks of him being very angry at times, and we flash forward to where Solani and her mother meet with her son, who's I believe 14, and he was talking about how he likes Justin a lot, but he doesn't like the way that he kind of snaps at her mom, and it feels at his mom, and it feels very uncomfortable for him. That's a very significant thing, because I think sometimes people get into relationships and they leave their kids out to where they have already created this emotional attachment that's hard to break, and then they say, hey, do you like him, do you like her? And it's kind of like, it's too late. You should have gotten, taken the temperature gauge from your child, because they will be a significant part of this process and this relationship. So it was good to hear her son feel comfortable with her enough to say, he's cool, I like him, but these are my concerns, and this is what I really don't like seeing. And he's at that age where in a couple of years, he's going to want to challenge him. And if he feels like he is not seeing someone treat his mother right, that's going to be a problem. It already is a problem. But he's well aware to see that this guy's a good guy and maybe there's just some areas of improvement. And he says, you know, you guys can get married, but just not right now. Like, if I had to give my blessing right now, it wouldn't be. And it just really demonstrates how good insight he has and how comfortable he is with sharing that with his mother, even though he says, you know, I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to ruin your relationship. And they just seem to have a really good dynamic. So if we flash back to where they're together, they do the 20 questions, because usually in each episode there's like a bonding experience, and then there's a 20 questions task where they're able to ask whatever question they want to figure out the lay of the land in terms of the relationship. And it gets very heated and it gets very disrespectful during dinner, and somebody starts yelling shut up and then his sister starts yelling shut up, and then she starts to get, when she's challenged about that type of communication, then she gets very upset, she starts cursing, and then she leaves. And it actually mimics her mom. Her mom got up and was really frustrated, and she left. And we see him do that. And I'm sure we see his sister do that, and I'm sure that he might have the tendency to do that. What I also see between Justin and his mom is there's a level of codependency where she's his trigger, but I think he's her trigger, and I think that they give each other the green light for unhealthy behavior because of their PTSD. And so you see the mom rescuing him a lot, not realizing towards the beginning, until there's a psychologist that specializes in PTSD that comes and talks, but towards the beginning you'll see her baby him and rescue him and not pushing to have a conversation about it, which, because he has significant trauma, we can see that this is probably a good thing in terms of not pushing him to have a conversation in a certain space. But the conversation needs to be had. And Justin does need to be able to stand alone and not have his mother him and keep him where he is, because this behavior will continue on with his wife, and she won't be there for that. She won't be able to rescue him for that. So we see a psychologist come in and talk about what PTSD is and how some people can re-experience these traumas. And we see him, it was beautifully explained, because I feel like everybody had an aha moment and they were like, okay, I get it. And they were able to ask the questions and kind of get to know him in a way by exposing them to this diagnoses and what it means and what it looks like, and what the people who are experiencing it, how they show up or how they don't show up. And so we see the mom get a very emotional, and it's like an aha moment, because she realizes, okay, I am still traumatized to the point where, I need to go and see someone. She said that she used to see someone and she stopped, and now she knows that she really needs to go back and see someone, because she's still very triggered and she's still suffering with high levels of PTSD. And we're able to see Justin respond very well too, where he felt like somebody else could explain that on behalf of him without being triggered and having to stay in that space. So I really thought that was so important to show, because it just showed the benefit of having an experienced clinician or someone who has the experience working with people with various types of mental health concerns or mental health diagnoses, how that could really be a sense of healing for people, not only for the people affected, but the person who is around the person that's affected, because they're affected in a different kind of way. And it just shows that, therapy isn't a scary thing. I'm a therapist. I mean, therapists have therapists. It's a beautiful thing. It's a healing thing, and it's something that people need to take more advantage of. And it's also something that does not need to be, you don't need to be broken. You don't have to wait. You don't wait till your car shuts off before you realize, oh, I probably should have gotten an oil change. You can get an oil change to keep it going well. You can get a therapist to make sure that you're in a good frame of mind and in a continued good frame of mind, and you can check in every now and then. It doesn't have to be this thing that labels you with a negative stigma. And I was just really glad to see that, because it's helping to push forward the agenda of really being open to talk about mental health and getting help. So we circle around. I mean, there was several arguments, but those were some of the biggest things. One of the other things that Solani kind of mentioned was being 100% supportive of him and his schedule and what he's doing, and maybe taking a back seat to what she's doing. And he doesn't see it that way. He says, if you want to do something, you're passionate about doing it, then do it. So towards the end of the episode, they were able to realize that it's time to take a break. But not a break in the relationship, because they respect each other, they love each other, and they are still in a relationship, but they want to put a pause on the engagement in order to just focus on themselves before they take that leap. And the families are getting along. I think with just the level of disrespect from his sisters, I feel like she doesn't know any better. It's no excuse though, because that type of behavior, like, no one wins. But I think her coping skills or lack thereof is reflective of how she responds that way. But I think they were able to clean it up at the end and be on the same page, and I think continue to get to know each other so that they can move forward. I love seeing that at the end of the episode we saw that his mom went back to seeing someone, and he started seeing someone, and I don't think he's ever seen anyone. So he started seeing someone to help address his PTSD concerns, which is like amazing, because it's like a domino effect. It's going to touch so many things. It's not just about that. Working on yourself and working through emotional traumas, it'll affect you, but it'll affect everyone who comes in contact with you and everyone whose life you're in, and vice versa. So I was really happy to see that. I thought that was a really important aspect of this episode. So as always, I would love to hear what you guys think. Don't forget to subscribe and comment, and I will see you guys next week. Everyone have a great week.